What is your North Star? The importance of having a North Star. Okay? For some people, it's this man, you know? It's a very good North Star to have. But yeah, what's your North Star? You might have various North Stars. What is a North Star? Well, you go back to navigation, you go back to the history of seafaring. The North Star, basically it's due north, obviously from planet Earth, and it allows you to orientate your ship. Okay? It's something, if you want to go north, you just go straight towards the North Star. But even if not, it's a point you can look at and go, okay, I can work off that, I can navigate off that. It's very useful to have that North Star up there, fixed point that represents due north. And in life, having a North Star, I think is really useful. So it's different for different people. For me, when I was young, I was fortunate. I came across two people who essentially became North Stars for me. Became North Stars in the sense that they were so extreme, they were so far out into the firmament in terms of what they'd done in their lives, that it was like, okay, that's a good reference point for me, and I can go towards that, and necessarily I can also veer off as well, but I can see that's out there on the horizon, that's actually possible to get to. And so these were my two North Stars. One of them was a physics teacher. He was an amazing teacher, but he'd also been in the military for 20 years, and he'd also been in the SBS, Special Boat Service, so UK Special Forces. And the guy was just like cool as fuck, basically. He was in his probably late 40s when he was teaching us. As I say, great teacher, bright guy. Obviously nobody messed with him at all. And yeah, we respected him partly because we knew what he'd done in the past, and he had done a lot in the past. He's told us, like, subsequently, we've had some chats and stuff. It's pretty nuts, to be honest. So he was a North Star, and it was interesting because, like, you know, if we ever went, I don't know, there was like a climbing trip, you know, he'd lead the climbing trip. Where we did this thing called Duke of Edinburgh, which is, kids basically go out and they do like camping and stuff like this for like a few days. You know, some of the teachers would come and supervise from the hillsides or whatever, you know, watch with the binoculars. Some disastrous things happen on those trips, like farmers getting their barns burned down and stuff like this. But he was obviously one of the people who was involved in supervision. If we went to Wales, we'd all be getting on the school bus, and he'd be getting on like a Kawasaki or like a Yamaha, like a super bike. We were like, wait, what's going on? He's like, oh yeah, he's just going on his bike, you know, and then he'd just whiz off into the distance. Like, I don't know if that was like against school policy or something like that, but it was just so freaking cool. And then you had the other teachers just like, you know, just getting on the minibus, you know, riding with us, doing a head count. This guy just zoomed off on a Yamaha. And that's probably the first person, it's probably the first like male teacher that I had where I thought, okay, this guy's professional, he's intellectual, he's bright, but he's a complete fucking badass. Total fucking legend. Like, so just in my mind, and he was a super nice guy as well. So just in my mind, like, just the fact I'd seen that person, I was never planning on taking it to the extremes that he did. He did crazy stuff, this guy, like because he had two salaries, like I think he had, you know, he had his military pension plus teaching, like I think he had quite a bit of money. He like had like a ski chalet out in Switzerland and stuff like that. He'd do like ski trips out there, adventure ski trips, like the guy is just complete G, basically. We met up with him a few years ago just to have some dinner and just catch up with him. I'm like, oh, you know, what are you up to? What are you up to this weekend, or, you know, tomorrow? I think it was Saturday night. It's like, oh, I'm going paragliding. You know, just like, the guy's like nearly 70 at the time. Complete legend. I think probably had to suppress quite a lot emotionally as well, you know, given those days and the forces and stuff like that, but still, amazing guy, right? And he was a North Star for me, like, smart, adventurer, awesome. to know that that's possible, to know that there's someone out there doing that. Okay, that's a point I can use as a reference point. The other one was a friend I met when I was about 19. He was another language learner, and he was a few years older than me. And when I first heard this guy talk Spanish, he had an accent from northeastern Spain. I'll never forget walking behind him as he received a phone call from one of his mates in Spain, and I was just like, are you actually joking? How is it possible to be that good? I mean, he was ill. Like, he was so much better than any teacher, any English person, any like lecturer, anything like that, anything I'd ever heard. He was completely native. And we were quite, he was like 22 at the time, right? I was like, what the fuck? How on earth did he get that good? And he was amazing at French as well. Amazing at French. Like, he had like a Marseille kind of accent when he spoke French. He had like, I think he'd spent time in Marseille or something. He had a Marseillaise girlfriend. Some crazy, kind of almost Marseille ghetto accent that he had in French. When he moved to Spain later on, I went to visit him. He learnt Portuguese just because he had a couple of Portuguese mates that he'd met in church. He also spoke fluent Basque as well, because he lived in the Basque country, which, I mean, it's just unheard of, to be honest with you. That's completely unheard of. What else did it? Oh God, other feats as well. So one day I'm 19, he's 22. We on a night out or something. We go past a kebab shop, stop, get a food or something, and we start speaking to the guy. The guy's Polish, and so my mate knew a couple of words. They had a bit of banter, and that was it. And about 2 months later, we went past again, and the guy's speaking Polish to him, and I'm like, when did you learn Polish? He's like, oh, just, I've just been talking to him and stuff, just asking him this and that, and just like looking a few things up. The guy was basically talking, conversational Polish just from speaking to a kebab shop guy. Like, this is like 15 years ago. Absolutely extraordinary ability with languages, like literally extraordinary, truly extraordinary. He was a real traveler as well, crazy adventurer. When he got married, he took his wife on a honeymoon. They went to southern Spain, and he got bored in Spain after about 3 days. So they got a boat to Morocco. They ended up in like fucking, I don't know, like Marrakesh or some shit like that. This is on the guy's honeymoon. So like, he just couldn't rein in the bug, like the travel bug. He just literally couldn't do it. Absolutely such a loose character, but great character. And so he became a North Star of language learning, right, for me. And that hearing him at a young age, I go, oh, that's the standard. That's the standard. That's the standard I need to be at. I might have to work harder than he did to get there, but that's the standard. And it was interesting because a few years later, actually at his wedding a few years later, I met his mates and stuff who I hadn't seen him for maybe a couple of years, and I met his mates and stuff who were from Spain. And I remember going out for dinner and stuff like that, we were all talking, obviously we were all talking Spanish, and I remember thinking about, towards the end, I was like, I was like, man, I've overtaken him in Spanish. Like my guru and the guy that I looked to, I'm like, I've actually overtaken him. There wasn't much in it, but I remember thinking, and I'm a decent judge when it comes to where you're at. Like, I'm not going to bullshit myself, and I was like, I'm actually a little bit better than him now. Just I had a little bit more flexibility in my expression. I think probably, partly because I'd just been living in Spain as well, but I've been really working on it since meeting him. So that was very validating, and I mean, he was completely amazing anyway. And I think some people are so natural that it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean as much to them. I won't say it doesn't mean anything because it was a passion, obviously. No one learns like 5, 6, 7 languages if it doesn't mean anything, but it was so natural for him. I don't know that he even valued it that much. Whereas everyone else was like, everyone who knew this guy who was interested in languages, and we like sometimes speak to him, like, you heard this guy? He's fucking off the chain. So yeah, we became like best mates, to be honest with you. He showed me a lot of ways, basically. He even showed me how to go to a foreign country and make friends, and he gave me tips and stuff like that. He was such a cool guy. And then he became very religious, and he basically kind of left all his old life behind, got married, had children, and it's almost like that whole thing never happened. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, I sometimes think to myself, I'm like, you know, by the time I'm 45, I might overtake where this guy was at 25, because he already spoke like 6 or 7 languages.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
But in any case, he was my North Star. His ability was my North Star. My physics teacher, he was a North Star as well. And I don't necessarily want to go down their track, but they're a point that's so extreme on the horizon, I can navigate off them. So I think that's a nice way of looking at things, you know. Is there somebody who's your North Star? I'm probably a North Star for some people, to be honest, where they're like, yeah, probably wouldn't want to go as far as Joseph's gone in a few things, but, you know, like, he's out there on an edge. These guys were on a real edge for me. Yeah, the importance of having a North Star, you know, at some point, you know, for some people, it does become the religion. It does become the religion, or it becomes a family, whatever it is. I think especially for younger people, having a North Star, someone you can look at, you can navigate off them. Doesn't mean you copy them, but you can navigate off them. So I'll leave things there for today. I enjoyed that video. I hope you did too. Have a fantastic weekend. Peace, love, and blessings to everybody.